Hey, what's up, everybody? It is Zach, the Dark Conservatarian, and in most recent news, I had a video blow up. It was in response to a Trump cultist, quite frankly, about Ron DeSantis dropping out of the race, and ultimately Trump being inevitably becoming the nominee for the 2024 presidential election. And here's the video to remind us of it exactly.
It's going to be Trump. I don't want to hear, I can't vote for him. I wanted DeSantis. I can't vote for him. Shut up.
That's the worst.
Shut up.
Man, fuck this toxic cultish bitch.
Have you seen what's happened now that Biden has been at the helm of things for as long as he has? You think that it's going to go better?
We can't survive another 4.
No, of course we can't. Of course we can't. So I don't want to hear this in-party, petty bitching and moaning about, but if my guy doesn't get in, I'm just not going to vote.
Sara Gonzalez is more likely to get me to abstain from voting for Trump at all than get me to vote for him with this kind of attitude. And you know what? If I have any friends or family that give me a similar attitude, like her entitled attitude, then that's even more going to make me not want to vote for Trump at all. In the same way that in 2016, I voted for Evan McMullin.
Shut up.
Give me the substantive reason why I should vote for Donald Trump. Do not give me any of this cult of personality bullshit or any of this ragging on third-party voters or no-party voters. All this bullshit about, you're splitting the vote. Oh, you're throwing away your vote. Oh, you're voting for the spoiler or whatever have you. Give me the actual substantive reason why. So that's the video. And then fairly soon after that video kind of blew up, it actually caught the algorithm. I mean, I kind of almost thought that my channel was almost done for in the algorithm, or I would have to upload a more involved video than that. I didn't even put a whole lot of effort into that particular video, but here we are now. I guess YouTube really is pushing that short form content, less than a minute and a half. But yeah, it obtained 2,000 views, and it also gained a whole lot of hate comments. And so for the first time in quite a few years, actually, I'm doing a hate comments reading video. And that's not to say that all of these comments are actual hate comments. I mean, some of them are in good faith and not actual hate comments, but I thought I'd just address pretty much every comment, or at least the more important ones, or I will consider the important ones. I mean, this is an edited video, so there's going to be a whole lot that I'm going to be taking out, but all the same, so let's just get it going with it. So, from the oldest, I have Waffle says, I still refuse to vote on principle. That, and I live in Cali. It will never go anything else but blue. I'm guessing this is one of my anarchist subscribers. I cannot remember exactly. It's a little bit hard for me to keep track of exactly which subscriber is of which belief. But anyway. And True Grave says, I never got this cultish criticism of Trump supporters. They have their own reasons for voting for him. They're not just blindly supporting the guy. You don't have to agree with their reasoning. That doesn't mean it's non-existent. Sure, Trump is charismatic, but he's not a cult leader. I think it's perfectly reasonable to say, hey, look at the country now and look at it under Trump. Which one's better? Okay. To put it in actual painstaking, almost autistic detail, I have been differentiating for the last at least a year, longer than that even, between Trump cultists and casual Trump supporters. There is a big difference that I keep on painstakingly differentiating for the last few months or a year or longer than that. I do not know if a True Grave ever actually watched me state about that, but I have stated it in the past. Here's a clip of me in a past live stream, for example.
And FYI to anybody who might be listening now or in the future, if you're a casual, emphasis on casual Trump supporter, I personally have no problem with that. I don't care. It's Trump cultists specifically that I have a problem with, and Loudmouth mostly has a problem with. It's those types of people who go using Trump as a litmus test to see of how good of a conservative that you are or not. But to put it succinctly right here as much as I can, I mean, actually, to help me out, I'm going to throw up a clip of a ranting monkey, as he even goes mentioning the aspect of Trump cultism.
That was just the talking point of the Trump zealots, because for all the TDS out there, there's now the Trump cult. There really is a group of these people who are fucking insane.
Oh yeah, a little too much time on their hands.
Like, if any of y'all do not take me so seriously, take seriously Ranting Monkey, who honestly has been a whole lot more charitable to Donald Trump than I am. He's plenty of charitable to Donald Trump, a little bit more charitable than I would sometimes like, but I still like the guy, and he still addresses that there is, in fact, a cultish element within some of Trump's support base. So, yeah, even he has a little bit of differentiation. But if I am to, like, give my own differentiation of what makes a casual keyword on the adjective casual Trump supporter is somebody who supports him because of his policies. Maybe they're able to like actually admit some of the criticisms of Trump, not just personality wise, but also some policy things that Trump did that they don't like, but they also like some of his policies as well. And they go thinking that he is one of the lesser of two evils, or maybe they even do solidly support him somewhat, but still not going to be like alienating to any of those within the Republican voting base who was kind of hesitant or even refusal to support Trump in everything that he does, kind of hesitant to vote for him, and definitely does not just support him in like 100% of the stuff he does. Whereas Trump cultists will brand you as some heretic that should be burned at the stake if you dare even differentiate away from the Trump cult of a personality. You are hesitant to vote for him, or maybe you don't vote for him at all, as Never Trumpers have. And by the way, I might emphasize that there are some Never Trumpers that are not rhinos. Ben Shapiro is one of those non-rhino Never Trumpers, and I was one of those non-rhino Never Trumpers. I mean, I was critical of Mitch McConnell back in the day. I mean, or I cannot say that I was vocally critical because this was before that I actually got commentating on politics, but still, there are those of us who do not agree with the Republican establishment at all, but at the same time had our reservations for voting for Trump. So yeah, that's a differentiation, long and short of it, of rhino Never Trumpers and actual like conservative / libertarian Never Trumpers who were registered Republican. But Trump cultists, not only will they alienate those who like just go deviating even just a little bit from Trump and his beliefs and all that sort of stuff, but one other thing that I also classify as a Trump cultist mentality, honestly, is the Trump litmus test, as I have been noticing. There are some like whole Republican campaigns that go running off of the mantra of being pro-Trump, quote unquote, as if that is a prerequisite for you to be an actual conservative Republican worthy of voting for in any election. Apparently, I guess you have to fall behind Trump in order to win an election nowadays, or at least that's the mindset of some people within the Republican party nowadays. Anyways, you have to be pro-Trump, otherwise you are not a good conservative, or you're just a rhino or anything else like that. Like, I even have like one particular person within my family who has literally no policy criticisms towards Trump. Like, for example, of how that he signed the 2 stimulus packages towards the tail end of his administration. Not to mention the spinelessness on gun that he has when it comes to gun rights that he had back in the day and all that stuff. I mean, you could just feign it to like just plain old ignorance and not actual like, oh, I'm just gonna ignore or even like completely play apologetics to all the stuff that I would disagree with otherwise if it wasn't Trump. But still, it was just rather baffling. What was even more baffling was that same person says that Ron DeSantis is untrustworthy just because of the mere fact alone that he would even run for the Republican presidential nomination here in 2024 against Donald Trump and every other Republican that was running for the nomination during the appropriate time. That's absolutely insane. Trump is not the God Emperor. He is not absolutely perfect. And even I, like when the Republican primary of this year was still going on, thought that Ron DeSantis was better policy-wise. Heck, I'd probably even say that Vivek Ramaswamy was a little bit more squeaky clean as far as policies go, or at least he doesn't have a proven track record of being spineless on guns, at least anyways, as far as I know and recall. Not to mention even like Doug Burgum, as far as I know, was probably would have been a better like policy wise. I mean, not to say that he would have actually won or anything like that, but all the same, I mean, Trump is not perfect. And if people want to support other people, then that should not be the litmus test for whether or not that they are a good conservative. Or nor should it be like the ultimate litmus test that if you dare run against Trump during XYZ primary, or somebody else who is like pro-Trump in whatever primary for whatever type of election, that, oh, therefore they're just automatically not a good conservative and they should be just completely dismissed from even consideration of voting for. It's just, yeah, it's that kind of attitude that is definitely cultish. Another good example of Trump cultism is if you are willing to sell out on the truth to try and protect the guy. Like, for example, back in 2016, Steve Bannon, who was running Breitbart at the time, he was trying to cover up the whole story of Corey Lewandowski, I believe it was, who practically assaulted the one libertarian, I think she was a reporter that was trying to go up and ask questions to the Trump campaign at the time. And yeah, he tried to suppress that story, say that that one Breitbart reporter should not report about it. Ben Shapiro, it's the thing that made Ben Shapiro quit Breitbart, is of how that Steve Bannon was trying to suppress that story. So the guy, yeah, that guy is absolutely a Trump cultist, just willing to completely sell out on the facts and the truth just to protect the guy. Another very good example, better example even, is Mark Levin back in 2020 of when that he was talking about Michael Bloomberg, throwing around his money all over the place when it comes to different political candidates and them running for office and so forth. And then he says, Trump didn't do that. When this guy, Mark Levin, was one of the most fervent critics of Trump back in the primaries of 2016. So obviously he would have known about Trump, throwing around his money to both Republicans and Democrats back before 2016. So for Mark Levin to have actually denied this was an absolute bald-faced lie to try and protect Donald Trump and his reputation. Absolute cultist mentality right there. Now, obviously, Sara Gonzalez, I cannot say that, or I cannot think of any example of her actually selling out on the truth, but it's this attitude that she goes thinking that Trump is entitled to every Republican, registered Republican's vote. That seems pretty cultist. The "you shall fall in line or else" kind of attitude, it seems. And also another example of somebody being rather entitled, thinking that Trump is entitled to all Republican support would be Mark Dice. I'm going to throw that screen cap up on the screen as well. So if I need to go into any further detail of the difference between Trump cultists and casual Trump supporters, then I guess I can or will, but I think that's a good starting point. Actually, I do not even know if there's anything more that I can say about the differences between Trump cultists and casual Trump supporters. I mean, it doesn't get more obvious than those examples I brought forth right there. And also, on the point of, sure, Trump is charismatic, but he's not a cult leader. I never said that Trump is technically a cult leader. My criticism right there is not even technically towards Trump himself. I mean, maybe he is. Maybe he is trying to fan the flames of his own cult of personality. I will not deny that at all. But specifically, it's towards Trump supporters. Trump does not have to be an actual cult leader for some of his supporters to have a cult-like mentality in supporting and backing of Trump. Capiche? You obviously have never paid attention to me when I go talking about Trump cultists and what makes a Trump cultist. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's a possibility that Truegrave never actually saw any clips of me actually saying the differentiation. But then again, maybe he has, and maybe he's just in denial of it. Or whatever, I don't know, but let's go further, shall we? And Truegrave says, no, I don't really pay attention to libertarian politics anymore, whatever. Jerry Singleton, 4956 says, they are all over the place. They are all over the place. Why I quit trying to keep up with that soap opera in all due respect. And obviously, I think that Jerry Singleton is obviously talking about the ANCAP community more specifically. I mean, that community has loads of drama, and yeah, it can get rather soap opera-ish. I agree. And Truegrave says, in response to Jerry Singleton, no, you're just being uncharitable to a group of people that support a political candidate for obvious political reasons. Truegrave, you're a dumbass. Honestly, I think the whole tag reply towards Jerry Singleton was completely on accident, because Jerry Singleton, obviously, in this exchange right here, was not talking about candidates. He was talking about like libertarian icons. Like, I get the implication he was talking about ANCAPs, no candidates being talked about, whereas Truegrave goes talking about political candidates. I think he actually meant to respond to me. And Truegrave, you are a dumbass. I have absolutely no problem at all if other people want to support and vote for Donald Trump. I have never had a problem with it, even as far going back to 2016, when I was the most jaded about Trump during that year. And even during 2020, I don't know if you saw the one video of me when I was like dressed up in a mafia outfit. I gone ahead and was saying that I was going to vote for Trump. And even this year, quite frankly, I am not ruling out voting for Trump myself either. I have loads of family members who are Trump supporters themselves. In fact, consistently throughout my entire time here on YouTube, I have done almost nothing but support, or rather defend, Trump supporters from insults and whatnot from the likes of like Cult of Ham and other hard leftists like him that just go generalizing Trump supporters as this, that, and the other thing. And I go thinking, oh, they're just people of different political beliefs than you. I mean, why insult them? All that other kind of stuff. I mean, if you have not seen that, I don't know. Honestly, Grave, I have a very hard time believing that you have not seen a single clip of me defending Trump supporters from gross overgeneralizations, negative overgeneralizations. And even putting aside my past record as far as defending Trump supporters or saying I don't care if you are supporting or voting for Trump at all, just look at the video itself. Taking the 1 minute and 15-second video that all these comments are related to by itself, my problem wasn't with other people supporting Trump. My problem was with other people's attitudes towards me, and really a lot of other people possibly not voting for Trump at all. Maybe abstaining for voting for third party, or whatever else have you. It's the fact that she said nothing policy-wise, for one, and two, was just whinging about people like ultimately, again, not voting for Trump. In that very video, too. It should be clear as day. And yet, Truegrave, you want to act like that it's people who are voting for Trump themselves that I was criticizing? I mean, yeah, the title of the video goes message to Trump supporters, but really, I was just making a general statement toward everybody that I don't want to hear any whinging or whining about if I go abstaining from voting for Trump or voting for third party in the same way that I voted in 2016, or if anyone else abstains from voting for Trump this go around.
If he picks Ramaswamy as his VP, I will vote for Trump.
Yeah, that would be the ultimate outsider combination.
Yep. If he picks somebody else, I might vote for my wife again. It would depend on who he picked, honestly.
In summary, I have absolutely no problem if other people want to support it, at least in a casual sense, or vote for Trump. The people who I do have a problem with is the people who support Trump, who have a problem with me not supporting and being hesitant to vote for Trump. Capiche? Myth Cuttlefish 6139. Hi, Myth Cuttlefish. It has been a while. She says, I'll give you a good reason. Now, I do not know if that was meant to be just plain bluntness, or if that was actual anger or something else like that. But regardless, I don't really care. Ukraine wasn't in our vaults, nor in the Congress when he was in. No wars, peace accords, energy independence, still waiting on that Internet Bill of Rights. Internet Bill of, well, you just gave me a reason why I don't want to support Trump there. No offense, Smith Cuttlefish. Internet Bill of Rights, gay. Anyway, and stiffer immigration laws and ending ridiculous gun laws. Except he was kind of spineless when it came to gun laws. In fact, I will not deny that he ended some gun laws. I think I might have done some passing reading of him, maybe allowing military members to carry some firearms on some military premises, for example. I can't remember exactly, but one thing that makes me see him as spineless when it comes to gun rights is, of course, the bump stock ban. Everybody knows about that. I cannot remember the ins and outs as far as like red flag laws and that whole fiasco goes. But what I do more explicitly remember is him saying that he is like open to the possibility of renewing the 1993 assault weapons ban. Any true blue gun rights advocate should not even be considering renewing that sort of thing. The banning of further sales and production of AR-15s or whatever, that you're just banning one of the most popular guns out there in America. And just, yeah, the fact that Trump was open to the possibility of renewing that just makes Trump really sour and puts a sour taste in my mouth. Like, yeah. Which I don't think is ever going to improve when we're talking about the state solely consulting power. But all in all, he didn't do a bad job. And honestly, policy-wise, I will say that he did not do a too bad a job ultimately, but we'll get further into that later on. INVU4834 says, ending ridiculous gun laws? You mean like the bump stock ban? Bump stock ban? Yeah, like I mentioned, it wasn't just a bump stock that he enacted via executive order. Also, remember the disaster spending bills in 2020, Operation Warp Speed, the CARES Act, as well as an executive order that gave the CDC power to tell landlords they can't make money. Sorry, but I'm not buying it. You know, that's one executive order that I have to look into and renew, because I do know that there was like some other executive orders that he signed in regards of the lockdowns and all that stuff against hoarding and price gouging and stuff like that. But I did not remember that about landlords. But yeah. This is why Truegrave says, this is why the cult accusation around Trump is just absolutely nonsensical. You don't have to know anything about politics to know things were good under Trump and now things are horrible under Trump. Again, missing the point completely, Grave. It is not about supporting Trump himself. It's about Trump supporters' attitudes towards any of us that do not support Trump. INVU also says, correct me if I'm wrong, but what I got from this is you just pointed out the wrong choices that Trump made. You must be a Biden supporter. Yeah, honestly, I don't think I really got that from True Grave. I mean, there are other people who accuse me of being a Biden supporter, but I don't think it was Grave necessarily. In all fairness to the guy who is not being fair to me. Where did I say he's beyond criticizing? Asks True Grave. Okay, whatever. INVU says, okay, so maybe you're not a cultist. Heads or tails on whether that I would personally call Grave a cultist at this point, but he's definitely being uncharitable towards me and regards of what exactly my ire is at. Anytime someone points out the things Trump has done wrong, most Trump supporters would jump down their throats. Exactly. Which is why I gave that reply a heart. Truegrave says, most, that's a big generalization. Okay, maybe that's fair. I do not know if it's most. I don't know if it's like 50% of Trump supporters or 60% of Trump supporters or just 30% of Trump supporters. All I know is that the Trump cultists exist, and that is purely who that my 1 minute, well, okay, not purely, because anybody who, cultist or not, I don't want to hear them like whining about me possibly voting third party or not voting at all. But it was largely at people who just have a cultist mentality at all, no matter what small of a minority it is that makes up of the Trump support base. I would argue most Trump supporters are conservative and have their own reasoning for why they're voting for him. It's not their fault his opponent is so much worse. It's their fault of how that they treat us registered Republicans, libertarians, and conservatives who are very hesitant to vote for Trump because of policy and so forth. Take every one of your political disagreements with Trump and compare that with Biden. And that's honestly what I do. And I'll get to that later. INVU says, well, is a lot of way they're the same. typo sentence right there. That was a little bit incomprehensible. Have you ever heard of horseshoe theory? Democrats are becoming more and more like each other, that elections are decided based on which candidate is the lesser of two evils. This is a logical fallacy known as red herring. Even though Biden is the greater evil, it has no bearing on the subject at hand. And really, to be super duper clear when it comes to why this whole thing is an issue, why anybody is hesitant to support Trump or whoever that the Republican nominee is in whatever past elections, like, it isn't even like just Trump who got the whole defense from third-party voters or no-party voters saying, oh, you're splitting the vote, or you're doing a spoiler effect, or you should just go ahead and vote for Romney or vote for McCain to defeat the greater evil that is Obama. I mean, that attitude was prevalent in 2008 and 2012 as well. It's not just prevalent in any election in regards of Trump. And honestly, the whole reason why those of us become hesitant or even refusal to vote for who the Republican nominee is, it isn't purely just a butthurt, oh, my guy who I was like giving money to or whatever else did not get nominated, so I'm just going to refuse to vote. It is not purely just a butthurt, like a sore loser kind of thing. It is also because of policy. We just do not think that the appropriate Republican nominee aligns well enough with us policy and belief wise. With a lot of libertarians and really even like current day Trump supporters who did not vote in any past presidential election, they did not agree enough with Romney or McCain policy wise enough during their appropriate presidential runs to go out and vote for them. And that's completely understandable. I mean, there's supposed to be a further conversation. There can be a further conversation and probably should. I mean, what do you believe in? And are you saying that, are you really saying that they do not believe in that they're not going to push for said policy, whatever the Republican nominee is? And in the case of, say, 2016, for example, being a stark example, there was like plenty enough libertarians, like even anarchists that I have like talked to over the years, who said that they would vote for Rand Paul, or would have, more specifically, voted for Rand Paul if he became the Republican nominee. But he didn't. Is it because of oh, boo-hoo, I'm butthurt, Rand Paul did not get nominated? Or is it because Rand Paul was the only person that aligned with enough with me belief and policy wise, and Trump does not align with me belief or policy wise enough, so therefore I do not find it in my heart of hearts to vote for anyone? And or maybe they just outright believe that voting is evil, just the mere act of voting is evil itself. But anyway, point still stands. There are some anarchists or other kinds of hardcore libertarians who would have voted for Rand Paul based off of policy, not because of whatever bullshit reason that people who want to whinge about spoiler effect want to bring up. Mr. Smiley Glow says, all these ignorant, emotional fools have to do is look up all of his achievements on the White House page. This is but a fraction of what he did for the country and the people. Life was great under Trump. They can accept inflation, rising crime, World War III, etc., but they can't accept bad Orange Man and his mean tweets. It's pitiful. And you are just oh god, it is not just mean tweets. It's if the only person being an a-hole was just Trump, that would be one thing. But honestly, no, the one of the things that makes me kind of hesitant to vote for Trump is the cult of personality that is developing around him. Quite honestly, I mean, all these people who are thinking that Trump is the ultimate litmus test, more than Republicans and conservatives were thinking that Reagan was the ultimate litmus test for whether or not somebody was a good conservative. And also saying that if you don't support Trump, you're a bad conservative. If you don't support Trump, you shouldn't be voted for, or anything else like that. It's that kind of cult of personality that's developing around him, more than mean tweets, that is making me personally hesitant, and a lot of other people that I know as well hesitant to vote for him here in 2024. As far as World War III goes, I mean, I will agree. He was more of a passive force of intimidation against other foreign nations to scare them away from wanting to fire off any nukes or anything else like that. I mean, to be frank, I think I am a little bit more concerned of World War III under Biden than under Trump. But anyway, they can accept inflation and rising crime. And honestly, inflation is a moot point. In fact, if anything, Trump was worse at inflation than Biden. I mean, Biden would, in theory, be worse at spending and contribute to inflation more if he got more of his way. But as far as what has actually happened here in the physical world, Trump has spent more than Biden, at least so far anyways. Trump signed 2 stimulus bills. Biden, I believe, only signed 1 stimulus bill. Trump is a big contributor, even if Biden did end up being like an equal or even slightly bigger contributor to that. Trump is still a big contributor to that with him signing those stimulus bills. He should have vetoed those to at least get them reformed to be smaller, those bills to be smaller anyways. But he didn't, and so some of the inflation, honestly, is on Trump's hands, plain and simple. As far as rising crime goes, I mean, I can agree that, but just ultimately, the whole they can accept inflation, rising crime, World War III, etc. No, it's not that those of us want to accept that type of shit. It's that we just think that Trump is bad in his own different kinds of ways, aside from mean tweets and so forth. INVU 4834 says, in my opinion, Ron DeSantis, even though I disagree with him on various things, which I do too, honestly, is probably the only Republican candidate that was even somewhat worth a damn. And Seamus Walker says, you're a fool. No, you're just a big douchebag. Fuck off. Mark Column 3874 says, don't vote for Trump because Sara Gonzalez tells you to. You have a brain, use it. Now, I do not think that this is that uncharitable. I mean, honestly, this guy comes off as the kind of the same personality as somebody else who is a Gen Xer and supported Trump in 2016. Kind of that same kind of blunt-ish attitude, but it's not that bad, is what I'm trying to say. Even though that he's coming off as a kind of a blunt, it's still not that mean or uncharitable. Vote Trump because you know he's the best man for the job. Who gives a shit what Sara Gonzalez says? And as I say, I certainly have my reasonings that I'm considering. I just find the general attitude she's showing to be absolutely disgusting. And that was the whole entire and only point, really, of the video. But people wanted to blow it up to other things that we'll get into later. Aaron57 says, so not using your brain much then if you think he is fit to be president of the United States. Biden is not fit to be president of the United States, equally speaking. And obviously people mention like insurrections and other sorts of things in regards to Trump. Long and short of it, he said that those protests should have remained peaceful. Any other side issues is a little bit too wordy and extensive to get into. But regardless, let's move on. Does this guy realize what he is saying? I'll vote to destroy the country because you annoy me so much. Just as bad. Nice straw man you got there, asshole. Yeah. A vote for Trump is a vote to divide and destroy the USA, says Aaron57 again. He hopes the economy crashes. Go MAGA. Honestly, even though this Aaron guy is a little bit of an asshole in his own right, I think he brings like a fair point in regards to Trump being a divider in the USA. I mean, honestly, everybody, open up your brain and ears just a little bit and compare him to Ronald Reagan's personality. Ronald Reagan had a little bit more of a united personality. Like, obviously, there's some policy criticisms to lobby at Reagan for, but as far as his rhetoric goes, at least, he made the USA seem almost magical, like a magical fantasy. Like, obviously, the USA is not perfect, but the way that he speaks about the USA just seems so, what am I trying to say? Graceful and fantastical, really. Whereas Trump, I don't really get much of any of that at all. And with Reagan, it's because of that, his personality and how he talked about the USA, why he was able to get more people around him. In fact, I almost want to think that there was like some quote that he did of where that he said that Democrat voters are not evil or something like that. I'll have to like look back at that if that's true or not. But regardless, whereas Trump, for example, it's like insult left, right, and center against anybody that just doesn't fall in line with him. Even if they do not like personally insult Trump
at all.
Trump really likes to make it personal and go throwing plenty of insults at them. So yeah, Trump is a big time divider, I will say honestly. But is that the only reason as to why to vote for Trump or not? Not really, but still. Why vote for Trump? Says Paul Minsk. Paul Minsk. Why vote for Trump? Biden and Democrats' policies in the current state they have put the country in. That should be enough, unless you hate the country. Again, nice straw man there. At least a borderline straw man, anyways. It's because I love this country why I have some hesitancies towards Trump. I mean, we can talk all we want about how Biden is worse, and I would agree with some of those things. But Trump is just causing a nastiness within this country that is just going to last for the next few years. And my biggest fear is that if he does win the next election, that there is going to be like further division spread within the country. Heck, I mean, call this a conspiracy brain if you want to, but I wouldn't even put it past Trump to start locking up people who he finds out do not fall in line with his agenda. I mean, he was already like wanting to like throw people in jail for 1 year, supposedly, just for burning the American flag. I mean, why wouldn't he go so far to start locking people up for not falling behind him? Because, oh, if you're not pro-Trump, that must mean you're not pro-America. And if you weren't pro-America by showing that you want to burn a flag, then that goes showing that you are deserving of jail time in that circumstance. Equally speaking, you're deserving of jail time if you don't support me because I am the most pro-America president ever of all time. And Mr. Merchant, thank you, Mr. Merchant, for coming in for white knighting for me a little bit in the comments section. You do realize that not everyone likes Biden or Trump, right? If anything, the two-party system is what is forcing Republicans who don't like Trump to vote for him because of the spoiler effect. Remember when Trump removed the U.S. from the WHO? Well, now the WHO is looking to gain 100% control of citizens during a given pandemic. Forced injections on the way. If we only had Trump in office right now. Damn. You know, maybe that's another reason why I should vote for Trump. I will give you that. Him being like an anti-globalist, essentially. I mean, the whole point of my video right here, and the whole point of my video that these comments are about, has really not that much to do with Trump, quite honestly. I mean, even if I was to completely support and vote for Trump, that still doesn't excuse the fact that I am completely sick and tired of this Trump cult of personality. Ever since back in 2016, when I had people like alienating me because I was considering not voting for Trump during the general election, and ultimately, I even had like a cousin like throw some meme at me just to like giving me shit, being an asshole because I wanted to like vote for third party. It's like, fuck you too, douchebag. Johnny Cottrell says, why? Because when Trump was president, if you remember correctly, this country was actually moving forward and doing good. Now, if you remember as well that all the time Trump was in office trying to do all this good, the dumb ocrats were consistently fighting against him and he was still able to get a lot of stuff done. That doesn't mean anything by itself, so just moving on. You may also remember the COVID virus. It's a man-made virus from China. Yeah, I also remember of how that Trump was originally like spurring on and kind of somewhat kind of playing lip service to the lockdowns and not being like anti-lockdown. Like, honestly, I was anti-lockdown long before Trump and even DeSantis was. A lot of people go talking about of how that DeSantis was opening back up Florida earlier than even like a Trump was wanting him to. Me, I was anti-lockdown before even DeSantis was. From the very get-go, I was thinking, oh, these lockdowns are putting a bad precedent for us in this country as far as like government overreach and the like goes. I was pretty anti-lockdown ever since the one lady got arrested for taking her kids to the park. To the park! Yeah, and that did not like cause a stir. Trump did not look at that and go like, we're having our liberties infringed upon by these Democrats within the localities and so on and so forth. He did not go criticizing that. yeah, no, that was definitely my biggest wake up point. I mean, a little bit before that, I was critical as well, but that was definitely an even bigger wake up call. You may also know that it's Biden and the Dems that are in bed with China. Fair enough, I guess. You may also remember that it's China, Biden, and the Dems that wanted Trump gone. I don't care. Honestly, like, I'm not going to make Trump the basis of my beliefs. If the entire world was against Trump, I'm not going to automatically be for Trump. Let me give you an example. The entire world is against Ted Bundy for differing reasons. I mean, he's a serial killer. But just because the entire world is against Ted Bundy doesn't mean I'm going to be for Ted Bundy. Just in kind of a similar way, just because the entire world supposedly is against Donald Trump doesn't mean I'm going to automatically be for Donald Trump. I mean, I might have my own reasons as to why that I might be against him myself. You may also remember that this virus has claimed the lives of millions of people, including a lot of them being young children. Okay, what is up with this guy? I mean, I'm a little bit confused as to which angle this guy is coming from now that I'm rereading the comment here, because that sentence right there almost comes off as like a Democrat talking point right there. I mean, was Trump really the most pessimistic overall as far as the coronavirus goes? I mean, yeah, I just mentioned about that he paid lip service to the lockdowns and even like perpetuated them a little bit as well. And originally he was kind of fear-mongering of it. He had his own concerns about the coronavirus originally, granted, but later on he would like start becoming progressively more and more like anti-lockdown. Like, is Trump anti-lockdown or is he pro-lockdown? I mean, should we be for him because which reason should we be for him? Because he was anti, or he was pro-lockdown, or now he's anti-lockdown. I mean, which is it? Just, that was a weird sentence from this guy. Things you may not know is that due to the restrictions of fear that Biden and the Dems placed on hospitals, etc., these young children died slowly from it and alone. And that might be a little bit more of a topic to research into further. I mean, obviously, I've had all my arguments against the fear-mongering of the coronavirus and thinking that coronavirus is not a good enough reasoning to start restricting the country or whatever. Like, I also, you know what? I actually find it a little bit almost contradictory. Go talking about restrictions that Biden and the Dems put on because they were afraid of coronavirus, and then this guy in the next part of the sentence goes saying a fear-mongering talking point about coronavirus in regards of young children and dying slowly and so forth. Like, ultimately, though, the coronavirus has less than a 2% fatality rate, well before, way lower than a 2% fatality rate. Wondering why their parents couldn't hold them or help them. Okay, maybe that is what the guy was getting at, that they were fear-mongering it so much to where that they were all like, oh, you cannot get in contact with your sick kids. We know what's best for you, parents. Even though you want to consent to the risk of getting sick yourself, we're not going to let you hug and embrace your sick kids. Yeah, fair point. That was a bullshit. I mean, regardless of whatever your opinion is of a coronavirus, how deadly or not it is, we can all agree, or at least I would hope that we would all agree, that is, if you're not a Hassan Piker, that people can consent to the risk of catching and maybe even dying from coronavirus if they really want to. And this seems like a case of that. These are the kind of scumbags that you want in office. And this guy was doing all okay, I guess, with this comment up until this point right here. This is like the first comment that I got of where that somebody was assuming that because I am hesitant to vote for Trump, that must mean that I am wanting Democrats in office. No, if anything, I am almost equally speaking not wanting Trump as much as I don't want Democrats in office. Actually, quite honestly, I considerably more don't want Dems in office, but I don't want either of them in office. I don't want Biden in office nor Trump in office. I would have preferred DeSantis in office, but if ideally speaking, I had to like pick my magical choice for who becomes president, it'd be like Rand Paul or someone else more along those lines. But here we are. Reality is what it is. Everything I'm telling you here is true, except it's not. You just said an absolute bald-faced lie. Like, I do not want Democrats in office. I'm not even going to be voting for Democrats. Heck, this video wasn't even me considering in the slightest bit voting for Biden. If anything, whatever I put my vote to, it is definitely not towards Biden. I'm not one of these rhino left-ish never Trumpers who vote for Democrats because they have that much TDS towards Trump. I'm not one of those guys. If anything, I'm more like Glenn Beck was back in 2016, of where that he was thinking on not voting for either, or Ben Shapiro back in 2016, where he was not voting for either as well. I'm not a registered voter, never have been. I'm just someone that loves this country and the people. We could be a thriving place, but with these criminals on the loose, we have no country. Sara Guinea, not Gonzalez. Honestly, I was confused back when I first read this comment, and I'm still confused now even. Like, Gonzalez obviously was shown up on the screen there. That's what her name is, purported to be anyways. I mean, it's not like I'm mistaken. If anything, I was just copying off of Blaze, and maybe Blaze is like mistaken, but even then I doubt it, because we're talking about a consultant or even a host at the Blaze. Like, what is he talking about? Although I gotta say, Sara Guinea, not Gonzalez. It is kind of a funny comment any way that you spell it, and I think from now on, I'm gonna nickname Sara Gonzalez, Sara Guinea Gonzalez. Credit to this commenter right here. 3 Pilots at FPV says, you're clearly an idiot. No, it's you're clearly a douchebag. You just got your head so far up your ass that you think that anybody at all who is hesitant on Trump, regardless of how pro-gun rights or pro-capitalism or pro-life that they are, that because that they are hesitant to vote for Trump at all, therefore that must mean that they are automatically stupid. Fuck you, and fuck everyone else with this kind of attitude. Luke Skywalker, cool nickname. Although that profile picture almost looks more like a picture of Tom Hiddleston's Loki from the MCU more than it does Luke Skywalker. But anyway, I don't like a lot of things about Trump, but he did keep the border secure. Well, to be fair and to be kind of critical about Trump, he did not actually get the wall built up fully. He just repaired some already constructed wall and like built, what was it, like, again, like less than 100 feet of new wall. I can't remember exactly what it is. I mean, Ranting Monkey knows more precisely what it was. Why is that important? Because the WEF globalists are flooding us with migrants to break us down to all the rest of the third countries level so they can rule us with a one world government. We didn't elect them. What right do they have to rule us? None. I will completely agree. And I am completely like anti-international governments. And that is honestly one pro that I can definitely credit Trump to, being anti-international governments. I mean, but on the flip side of that, that's not to say that Trump will not instill his own kind of authoritarianism that is in competition with the WEF and everyone else of that ilk kind of authoritarianism. I am not a Republican or Democrat, not a Republican. I'm an American. I want what is best for America. And the real issue is how many more of our rights are we ready to have taken away from us? By the way, drug cartel leaders are just walking across the border. One even told the Border Patrol, soon you will know just who I am. Hamas has sent too many of their operatives here and have them in place and have issued us a warning. After we finish with Israel, you are next. What part of this does anyone out there like? And I say valid. Like, completely valid. And honestly, I have been, it's been kind of hard to get exactly what my political compass is nowadays when it comes to illegal immigration. Like, obviously, like 2017, well, before 2020, actually, in the earlier days, just in general of my time commentating about politics, I was staunchly anti-illegal immigration. But in a recent few years, I have become a little bit more libertarian, borderline anarchist when it comes to immigration. But looking at this issue just makes me want to like revert back to my former conservative beliefs when it comes to immigration and so forth. I mean, it's definitely a hard issue for me to tackle, and maybe I should just sit down and do some copious amounts of research on it. I mean, it does scare me a bit, and I guess if I had to like completely like do, I mean, if gun to my head, if I had to put myself in a position, I probably would be pro border enforcement, to maybe even consider a wall, perhaps, if not just because of the fact that some of this almost seems orchestrated. Some of the people that are coming to the United States, it does not seem like people, private individuals, just naturally wanted to come across the border, as that's like the main thing that anarchists are for. It just seems to be somewhat of an orchestrated move on foreign evil actors' parts. And if that's the case, if that truly is the case, then I think that we do have to secure our border. And even when it comes to like single private individuals, I hate to like mention his name, but I think I might be of the same opinion as Don the Pleb was, at least back in 2019 anyways, in that the belief was, I believe, if I recall, at least what I am right now, that we need to devolve welfare, if not completely get rid of it. And then at that point, we can open up our border to whoever we want to. I mean, jobs be damned and stuff like that. We need to also like get rid of minimum wage laws. Therefore, that whether or not that somebody is like an actual like naturalized citizen or not is not as much of a concern. But anyway, Kathy Smith says, "Go Sarah." No one needs your vote. Stay the hell home. The all caps too. I can just hear this person just screaming overly emotionally with the absolute like tears in their eyes. Like, for one, I have to say, no, I'm not going to stay the hell home. You can go get fucked. And also, no one needs your vote. If Trump loses, I want you to like completely stay with that belief right there. You did not need my vote. If Trump does lose in 2024, I want to know of how many people are going to still be of that same mindset. We did not need their vote. We did not need the other registered Republicans' votes or anything like that. Oh man, it would just be the biggest eating of words if the same people who are all like, we don't need your vote, therefore goes all like, after Trump loses, oh, we did need your vote. Yeah, go clutch your pearls and cry in your wine somewhere else. I'm not here for it. Ha ha ha! You can't decide on your own and figure out on your own. I don't get it, but go go go. Do you do what you want to do? Another comment that completely misses the point of the video. The point of the video was not to say that I absolutely know nothing about Trump. I mean, some of these people are just completely uncharitable assholes who go thinking that I am like literally of zero knowledge as far as politics goes, zero knowledge of what stuff that Trump did during his first term in office. It's like, I run a political YouTube channel. If you go like look into the back catalog of my channel, all the news streams I did and so forth, I know a lot about what Trump did, both good and bad. And really, in that video, it wasn't even me like asking, oh, give me the substantive reasons, the policy reasons why to vote for Trump because I don't know anything. I was saying, give me the substantive reasons because I only want to hear the substantive reasons why to vote for Trump. I do not want to hear any Trump cult of personalities. I was trying to like push the whole cult of personality type of talking points and all the crying and whinging about third party voting or anything else like that. It's like, it was just me. It was just me exacerbatingly exclaiming as to how sick and tired I am of this anti-third party voting and anti-no voting attitude that a lot of people within the Republican base have. And just based off of no policy wise or substantive reason, too, for that matter. It's just oh, we're going to lose if you don't vote, so just vote for us. But why should I vote with you? Why, though? Talk only about the why. User so-and-so code, you're a hypocrite. Oh, and how is that, huh? How am I a hypocrite? Is it because that I am like calling a bitch a bitch? This almost reminds me of like Tim Horn, honestly. Because that I called Tim Horn a douchebag, therefore that means that I'm a hypocrite. Honestly, anybody who cannot grasp their head around this, my policy when it comes to this whole thing right here, must have the brain of a little dodo bird, the tiny little brain of a dinosaur, or something else like that. Like, yes, I do prefer civil discourse, but if somebody is going to get uncivil, then I am going to increasingly get more and more uncivil because I'm not going to put up with anybody's uncivility, be it Tim Horn or Sara Gonzalez, taking this bitchy, toxic, mocking attitude towards any of us who are hesitant to vote for Trump. It's not hypocrisy. It's more like I will retaliate if I have to. Fuck anybody who wants to call that hypocrisy. And do your homework. Look back at my back catalog. I have, at least to some extent, anyways. I mean, I do not claim to be like an absolute expert when it comes to research, but again, just another like douchebag who wants to assume that I am a zero information, that I'm a no information voter or something. The Russian hoax was perpetrated by the DNC and paid for by Hillary Clinton. That's not really having to do with policy, but whatever. Biden shut down all oil production after being the number one oil producer in the world, crippling our country. You know what? Honestly, I don't want to say that I completely disagree with what he says there, but if I was in his shoes, I just would not as cockily like state that he shut down like all oil production. Like I do know that he like shut down the Keystone XL pipeline, and there was some other working pipeline that he shut down too, thus decreasing like oil producer confidence, which did like end up increasing price of gas and so on and so forth. Not to mention inflation that also increased it as well. But did he shut down all of it? As far as my knowledge goes, Biden did not get through a fracking ban or anything else like that. I don't even think that he renewed the offshore oil drilling ban that Obama had signed an executive order for, and then Trump signed another executive order to rescind that executive order of Obama's. So I don't even think Biden did that to like put back forth the ban that Obama had put forth. So yeah, I don't even think that's the case. Having the prosecutor from Ukraine fired in exchange for $1 billion to not prosecute his kid fucking son who happens to be a drug addict. I mean, I'm not going to, I don't know. I don't want to say that Hunter Biden is like a non-issue. I just do not know of how big of a Hunter Biden is an issue as far as a voting or not. But I don't know. It's just an issue that I overall did not really care that much. I'm like all ears to anybody else what they have to say about that thing. But regardless, it's an issue that did not intrigue, that did not pique my interest as much as say, what are the stats for how many self-defense cases there are where that people use guns in self-defense or something else like that. Wasserman Schultz issuing a 187 on Seth Rich. Don't even know about that, etc. Carrie Lake being bribed on tape and her refusing. On the other hand, Trump being attacked by all these assholes like yourself. Open your damn ears, asshole, and listen to that video again. That video was not an attack on Donald Trump, you fucking dumb fuck. Yourself and being proven wrong and a bitch ass lying POS says, do you need to be educated in anything else, numbnuts? You did not educate me on really anything. I mean, even the Biden statement, it's like, I don't even know about how backed up that is. I mean, if you provided sources at least, like linked an article or something, that would be a little bit of something. But everything else here is just almost immaterial about who I want to like vote for or whatever. Awesome mustache. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Elroy the Great. Icebar says, just shut up, bitch. No. Fuck no. I don't know of how many times I've been told by rabid pro-choicers or anyone else to shut up on political issues, political subjects, but the answer has always been No. Habs Batman says, hey, brainwash, Trump, no, the earth is flat. Oh, thanks, you moron, for giving me more reason to not vote for Trump. Oh, Trump apparently believes that the earth is flat. Raul Serrano says, you should vote for who you want to vote for, regardless of what anyone says. Well, thank you, Raul. That's a little bit of encouragement right there. Maybe because during Trump's first term, everything was really coming together, from the economy to a peace treaty in the Middle East that we hadn't seen in decades. Aaron 57, our token liberal of the comments section, or I said liberal, I sound like a 2000s or 90s boomer conservative. Our token leftist of the comments section, excuse me, says economy is better under Biden, jobs up, stock market up. Stock market, don't give a shit. As far as jobs up, that is only because we are like progressively getting out of the lockdowns. That's the only, so it only looks like jobs are up or jobs are created, when really it's not new jobs being created. It's old jobs being opened back up is all it is. Giving Israel Jerusalem is not finding peace in the Middle East. And honestly, that might be the only thing of some debate that Aram has. Well, okay. What am I talking about? Everything there is up for debate. I'm not going to be an arrogant schmuck and say that nothing is up for debate, except for the Earth being flat. The Earth is not flat, and you're an idiot if you think otherwise. If you don't realize that the Earth is round. But that's a subject for another time. But the whole thing about giving Israel Jerusalem not being a way to find peace in the Middle East, that is, it definitely does agitate the Muslims. That makes them want to attack Israel even more. So it doesn't really appease them. In fact, it antagonizes them more. So there is somewhat of a point there. But I don't know. Maybe Aircraft Sparky will watch this video and he can tell me what he wants about how that would actually help bring about peace, is recognizing Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, and it would not antagonize the Muslims or whatever he would exactly say. I do not know what exactly that he would say on that. Sara Gonzalez convinced me. You, on the other hand, sound a little unhinged. Yeah, bullshit. The Trump supportism is just dripping from your comment right there. You're just dripping with a sarcasm and not insincerity right there. You are not convinced of anything. You're already a Trump supporter. I can obviously tell. So don't play with me right there. And a little unhinged. Oh, I am a little bit unhinged because I am sick and tired of all this bitching and complaining about third-party voting or non-voting from people within the Republican base who want to complain about people like me. Rather unsubstantively complain about people like me possibly not falling in line with Republicans. If Sara Gonzalez really did convince you, though, how weak-minded are you, really? Because Sara Gonzalez said nothing of Trump there. All she said was, you're not willing to vote for Trump. You're not voting because Ron DeSantis did not win. That convinced you? Wow. If you are convinced by that, then wow. Mr. Merchant says, what was convincing about what she said? From the clips of this video, all she said was, if you don't like Trump and like a different presidential candidate more than Trump, then boo-hoo-hoo. And if you don't like Trump, then you must like Biden and think he is going to do better. Which the former is a non-argument and the latter is a false choice. In either case, if this is enough to convince you, then you lack good critical thinking skills. Thank you, Mr. Merchant. Exactly my thoughts as well. Lastly, how is he unhinged? Outside of the mere thought of disagreeing with Trump and Sarah, what has he said that can even remotely be considered unhinged? And no response, of course, from Gregory Carbajal there, who said that I'm unhinged for saying that I hate this attitude that people have. Says McMuffin, you dumb. Okay. Let's go in the Wayback Machine. Rewind back to 2016. Back in 2016, I had no reason to believe that Trump was a legit conservative. The only thing that I had to go off of was him being critical of Obama a bit, And even then, most of that was about the birtherism stuff. And that was probably mostly because of the fact that Hillary Clinton did not get nominated as the Democrat nominee in 2008 for president more than anything. So who knows of what his motive was as to why that he was promoting birtherism in regards of Obama. And also, he had no proven track record of being pro-gun or pro-life. All that we had was his newly, all of a sudden, flip-floppy words during the presidential campaign. And even like after the election, he like flip-flop when it, well, I do not know if it was a flip-flop on minimum wage, but I don't know. He did a flip-flop definitely on jailing Hillary. So I had absolutely no reason at that time to believe that Trump was a legit conservative. In fact, I thought that it was more than likely that he was a Clinton plant put in to become nominated for the Republican Party as a charismatic figure so as to make Republicans divided and also look bad in 2016. Now, obviously, that did not come enough into fruition for that theory to have worked, because obviously he won back in 2016. And also, in further hindsight, I'm obviously proven wrong. From the very moment that he nominated Neil Gorsuch for SCOTUS, that was enough evidence to prove to me that I'm wrong. But in 2016, what fucking option did I have? With everything that I said going in the Wayback Machine, what fucking option did I have? I had no reason to believe Trump. So it's not that I'm dumb, it's just that you're so far up your own ass. Nathan Staunch says, the idea that you think someone needs to tell you why you should vote for someone is the exact reason you probably shouldn't vote. Refer to what I said earlier about my true intent of why I was saying give me the substantive reason. I don't know if I'm going to want to repeat it. This is just fucking stupid. It was not me saying I know nothing about Trump's first term. Look back at my back catalog of content and you'll see my commentary. Instead, look into all candidates on all sides. Look at what they have done in the past and look what they claim as future goals. Make your decision based on who will least harm you, since no choice is going to align with everything you like. It's up to you to fact-check information of candidates and make your own decision. So the first sentence was obviously an uncharitable, asshole-ish statement, but everything else there was fair. Brenda Desmond, excuse me. Brenda Desmond says Trump is not bought and paid for. He's not one of them. He truly cares about the... Okay, here's the thing. Trump is not bought and paid for. He's not one of them. But here's the thing. He could be his own evil, independent of the Democrats. So to say that he's not bought and paid for by them is absolutely meaningless to me. Like, let me bring forth an example. Because Putin is not supported by the American Democrat establishment. Should I therefore go supporting Putin? No, of course not, because the guy is an oligarch and quasi-socialist and fascist, frankly, himself. So, yeah, just because the enemy of my enemy is not automatically my friend. Let me put it that way. He truly cares about the future of our country, about taking care of America first. Honestly, I kind of think that Trump cares about taking care of his ego first, but I digress. He will clean out the corrupt deep state, end wars, stop the invasion of illegals, stop fentanyl, a weapon of mass destruction from China, from entering our country designed to kill our youth and restore our economy and our energy independence. Just empty platitudes right there. How does it feel to be brainwashed, fool? Yeah, fuck you too, dude. Dude, your people constantly talk about Trump like this all the time. What, you can't take what you dish out? What do you mean by your people? I don't represent any people. I don't represent all libertarians. I don't represent all DeSantis supporters. I don't represent all never Trumpers. I only represent me and myself as far as what I go. And point back to one example that you think that I have supposedly unjustifiably like insulted Trump or whatever. Otherwise, get lost. But even then, Sara Gonzalez more specifically, why should Sara, even if I did insult Trump in some unjustifiable way, supposedly, why should Sara Gonzalez take that personally to where that he has to like insult the group that I fall under, which is people who are hesitant to vote for Trump this election go around. And even more specifically, this is the first time of me coming across Sara Gonzalez. The very first time. So I never like insulted Sara Gonzalez before ever in my life. So how do I deserve this exactly again? If you were trying to like point out an irony in this, there is no irony in this. Again, refer to what I said earlier about civil discourse. Jacob T says, MAGA and the conservatives are so full of it. They keep saying that things have gotten so bad under Joe Biden, but can never articulate what has gotten bad. His attempt on gun rights, inflation. I mean, I go blaming Trump a lot for inflation, but Biden holds some blame for inflation as well. His degeneration of the oil sector of our economy. That's because they are lying. Okay, I'm going to take a stand here for Trump supporters as a whole. No, they are not lying. Lying, strictly speaking, would be intentionally misinforming people, or at least that's the only real meaningful definition of somebody lying. And are Trump supporters really intentionally misinforming? I mean, you can say that whatever you want about like political pundits or whatever, but you're not just talking about political pundits. You're talking about like conservatives as a whole, like even like supporters. But even some pundits do not know that they are misinforming, if it is even misinformation for that matter. So no, they're not lying, and you are just a complete douchebag who like really overly liberally loves to use the word lying to smear and drag through your opposition through the mud. If you look at the numbers, statistics, and facts, you see that Joe has outperformed Trump in every way possible by a mile. Bullshit. They have nothing to show how Trump is a better choice than Biden. All they do is lie and fearmonger. And Biden didn't do any of that fearmongering himself. He was doing a whole lot of that at the tail end of the coronavirus pandemic. People might technically say that the pandemic is even going on now, but back in 2021, when the pandemic was is still somewhat active, he was still fear-mongering that shit, all the way to the point of where that he was trying to attempt an OSHA-enforced mandate on all businesses to mandate the COVID vaccines for all their employees. So fear-mongering? Joe Biden is a fear-monger himself as well. So you have no room to speak, really. Paul Q. Rule. Cruel. I don't know how that's pronounced. I don't care. Think, remember being brainwashed by corporate media. Orange man bad. Orange man bad. Orange man bad. Orange man bad. Conspiracy theories. Racist. Russia, Russia, Russia. Make it stop, stop, stop. You'll start World War III. My feelings matter, damn it. Again, just another douchebag who goes thinking that I am like a Biden supporter just because I go saying that I'm hesitant to vote for Trump. This is what you get for being a small fry like me, when that people like barely see your shit. If you come like just coming across that person's channel for the very first time, and they like say very small amount of stuff in it, they want to like take you completely out of context. Maybe this is just a very good sign that short form content is not for me, that I should stick with the autistically lengthy amount of videos that wants to go into painstaking detail on every subject with a super duper millions of types of clarifications and all that stuff, to try and avoid any kind of even close to justification for this out of context bullshit. I mean, not to say that it is justifiable, but regardless, to help try and mitigate it, maybe I should just stick with the long form content that I normally do instead of short form quick content that could more easily be taken out of context. Honestly, that's the biggest reason why my content is so long, is because I want to be like super clear on stuff, a little bit more super clear than your average political pundit wants to be. Trump is a proven liar and con man. He has been quoting Hitler. If you want another Hitler in power, you need help. Are you another fool conned by the dawn of lies? Question for everybody who is watching this video. Who is the bigger idiot? The Trumpist who is looking at this video and is assuming like a big fat jackass that I am a Biden supporter? Or the Biden supporter that comes to this video and goes assuming like a big fat fucking dumbass jackass himself that I am some kind of Trump loyalist? Or maybe, which one is stupider in this case? Or maybe you think they're both equally stupid. I don't know. Tell me in the comment section down below. Dicko6 says, vote for who you want to vote for, but just stop bitching about it. Trump 2024 from Australia. The only thing that I am bitching about is other people bitching about me not wanting to possibly vote for Trump. Tosh says, my dude, the time for your idealistic BS is long over. Fuck off. No, I'm not gonna like stop with the idealistic. Well, okay, it's not even like I'm being like perfectly idealistic. Ron DeSantis even isn't like the perfect idealistic outcome that any election could give us. Heck, Rand Paul isn't even like the most idealistic choice. I mean, it can be close, but there's no such a thing as perfect idealism. So for you to like project that onto me is just really unfair. I don't know what rock you've been living under, but we got 38 million illegals that poured in since Biden has been in office. Each one is given housing and benefits on our tax dollars. The WEF objective is to destroy us as sovereign nation and displace us to establish the new world order they want for themselves. This nation is on life support. Battle lines are being drawn, and a civil war has never been more likely in recent history. If you're voting for a no name in this election, you really are just wasting everyone's damn time. You're wasting my damn time, and just really, if you want me to vote for Trump, stop it with this divisive language right here, Trump supporters. Every Trump supporter, Trump cultists, casual Trump supporters, if you want me to vote for Trump, stop it with this divisive language right here. I used to be a libertarian, but then I realized that where this country was headed. You are nuts if you think chancing a Trump loss will benefit us. Stop dicking around and get serious. I am serious. I am serious about how much that I hate the Trump cult of personality and just want it to die. I want the Trump legacy to just die. And honestly, even though that I am more likely to vote for Trump than Biden, if Trump loses, there is at least one good thing that I can credit to that. And that is more likely that the Trump legacy, the Trump cult of personality, will just more quickly die off. Otherwise, if he does win a second term, then I'm never going to be able to hear the end of it. I'm going to have people just consistently and always for the rest of my life be assholes at me that because I did not vote for Trump in 2016, instead voted for Evan McMullin. I voted kind of reluctantly for 2020 and may or may not reluctantly vote for him in 2024. And I did not support him in the primary of 2024 either. I'm never going to be able to hear the end of it because Trump will have better established his legacy than he has with just one term in office. AOD Derek Jeter says, I want to run too, but we got to support Trump because he's the nominee. Whoever is holding Biden's pen is draining our country's blood. And fair enough. And like I said, I will keep all the policy things in mind that were said in the comment section here. But as far as the Trump cult of personality attitude goes, I just got to say, fuck you all who have that sort of attitude. And again, I must reemphasize that there's a difference between Trump cultists and casual Trump supporters. I can very easily enough be friends with the casual Trump supporters. Heck, I mean, I don't even know how much I care if somebody votes for Biden. I have a sister who has voted for Biden in 2020. And honestly, that is like the least of my concerns about her. Just like is the least of my concerns with anybody who goes voting for or even casually supporting Trump. I mean, it just comes down to what kind of personality that you as a person are and really what your base beliefs are, but just your personality more than anything. And in regards to this just goes showing me that a lot of Trump supporters, more super specifically, the cultist types, are just of such a toxic personality themselves, asshole-ish behavior, to where that it's just detestable. And regardless of who I'm going to vote for, and regardless if Trump wins or not, it does not matter. Regardless of whatever happens, it's not going to devolve me anymore from standing against the Trump cult of personality. If you all have stuck this long to listen to or watch the entirety of this video, I'd like to thank you all for watching, and I will have my usual output of content to come sometime in the future, but I still gotta kind of better establish myself as far as fixing back up my computer goes. And also, I'm busy with other life stuff. But other than that, I have to say, just thank you all for watching. Y'all who have liked, and all of y'all who have disliked too. That helps in the algorithm too. And left hate comments as well. Thank you all for watching, and God bless. And God bless all of you who are not Trump cultists, and all of you who are Trump cultists. Well, may God bless you all with a change of attitude and personality. Bye-bye.